June 6th, 1944, D-Day. Operation Overlord, the Herculean effort of the Allies to invade France in order to throw out the occupying German forces, begins. However, the night before, ahead of the main invasion, an airborne vanguard is sent forth. Paratroopers descending from the skies to seize or destroy bridges, knock out artillery batteries, and secure strategically important villages. The 5th Parachute Brigade of the British 6th Airborne Army were tasked with the reinforcement of 2 road bridges across the River Orne and the Caen Canal, both of which had already been captured earlier by Major Howard and the men of 2nd Battalion Ox and Bucks Light Infantry. Due to inclement weather and confused coordination by the airborne pathfinder companies, many of the 5th Parachute Brigade were scattered all over the Normandy countryside. This is a battle report exhibiting the efforts of 1st Lieutenant Hartnell and his hastily assembled paras fighting for their lives on the outskirts of the village Petiville, just south of Drop Zone V. Surrounded by encroaching Herr forces, Hartnell's men must hold out until relief forces come to their aid. The British order of battle is as follows. 1 communications jeep. Its sensitive equipment having been damaged during its drop, it now serves as a transport for the beleaguered paratroopers. A medic. 1 Ford observation officer and his assistant, both armed with submachine guns. Naval cannons offshore many miles away await for their command to bring down the thunder. A sniper and spotter. A flamethrower team bearing the dreaded ACPAC. A Piet team. And, of course, Lieutenant Hartnell and his stalwart platoon sergeant Levine. Though undermanned and having landed outside his drop zone, Hartnell will do his best to ensure that Operation Tonga is a success. A 3-inch mortar team with spotter for indirect fire support. A quick-fire 6-pounder anti-tank gun for seeing off any armored threats. And lastly, in the support role, a Vickers medium machine gun team. The bulk of the defenders' force consists of 4 paratrooper sections. Of the 4 sections, 2 are split into 8-man groups and include a 2-man Bren team, while the remaining 2 sections form the assault element. The German force. First on the scene are the recon elements of the 125th Panzergrenadier Division. Borne to the battlefield aboard Opel Blitz trucks, all disembark and approach on foot save for 1 assault squad. 1 schwere Panzersperrwagen, armed with a forward-facing light howitzer and an MG-42. A reconnaissance motorcycle and sidecar armed with an MG-42. The main force consists of 3 squads of Herr Grenadiers. These soldiers are determined to give up not 1 inch of conquered French soil, and have sworn an oath to their Führer that they should protect the dominions of the fatherland with their lives if need be. 1 deadly squad of veteran pioneers. These hardened soldiers await to spring upon the enemy as they leap out from their transport. Father Schneider, a chaplain for moral support. This man's seen it all. Ein Sanitator. A sniper team. And leading the Grenadiers is Lieutenant Baumann, assisted by his sizable bodyguard, whom the men affectionately call Big Body. And lastly, an 80mm mortar with spotter. Before battle is joined, Lieutenant Hartnell indicates the assembly area with colored smoke. This acts as a beacon for not only his men, but unfortunately also the men of the Wehrmacht. First on the scene are of course the lieutenant and his platoon sergeant, the Vickers team, both Bren sections, the sniper team hidden away in the hay barn, the mortar team's spotter has hidden himself away behind the thickly overgrown bocage, eyes open and alert for any incoming Germans. And lastly, amongst the hay bales, the anti-tank gun team and the 3-inch mortar team. The German sniper team skulked forward and positioned themselves such that they may take shots at one of the Bren sections. Positioning themselves here. The German mortar spotter also deployed ahead of the main force, situating himself here. The German first wave comprises of one of the grenadier squads, the motorcycle team, the medic, the chaplain, the mortar team, and the forward-deployed sniper team. Ahead of the assault, the Germans call in a preparatory bombardment, but it fails to materialize, due in no doubt to the sabotaging actions of the French resistance. The first shot of the Battle of Petiville was indeed made by the German sniper team at one of the British Bren teams. Though on target, the German sniper's bullet failed to wound the veteran Paras. It did, however, bring the section to the attention of the rest of the German forces. Choosing to ignore the sniper shot, the Bren section keeps their eyes open for threats coming in from the south. Rattled by the sniper's fire, the Bren section nevertheless prepare an ambush. The British anti-tank crew prepare for German armor. The Vickers team await in ambush. The German mortar team enter the battlefield and set up behind the woods. Seeking to blind the eyes of the German mortar team, the British mortar sends down a hail of mortar bombs upon their spotter. Not quite on target, they miss the spotter. However, the mortar team continues to zero in. One of the British assault squads waits in anticipation for the right time to strike. The motorcycle roars up the road and opens fire with his machine gun at the British mortar spotter. But not one bullet finds its target. The lieutenant awaits in ambush, as do the remaining Bren section. The chaplain, medic, and grenadier squad enter the battlefield on the southwestern flank. Amongst the confusion, one of the British assault sections attempts to enter the battlefield, and does so, surprising one of the grenadier squads, opening fire. gunfire, claiming the lives of 3 Germans.
Sanitäter!
Meanwhile, the German transport truck attempts to enter the battlefield, but is delayed due to having to refuel. The 2nd Grenadier Squad enter the scene and counterattack the assault element of the British Paras. Taking aim, they open fire. Consequently, 2 paratroopers fall to their bullets. The motorcycle team sustain their fire against the British spotter. And 1 bullet hits, but is deflected off his helmet. The remaining Grenadier Squad attempt to sneak up on the barn where the sniper is located, but are otherwise held up. The armored car approaches the battlefield and makes it without problem. The reconnaissance vehicle has among its crew sharp-eyed men who spot the hidden Paras, revealing their positions, including the 80 gun crew and one of the Bren section. Expecting fire, the gun crew hit the dirt. The armored car fires.
Feuer!
Explosive shells and bullets fly past the Paras, but none find their mark, save for 1 bullet that ricochets harmlessly away. The Pioneer Squad aboard the transport that's refueling check their gear. Responding to the armored threat, the jeep carrying the Piet team attempts to enter the scene, but dithers. The Germans act, and among their number, the sniper team continue their harassment of the Bren section far away in the distance. The shot is on target, but the veteran Paras keep their heads down. Hearing the sounds of battle, the forward observation officer and his assistant cautiously creep forward and position themselves here. Peering through the bocage, they see a hayfield rife with Germans and some of their brothers in arms locked in combat, fighting for their lives. The flamethrower team rushes to the sound of combat, but not fast enough. The medic runs to the sound of wounded men, hoping to help them, but is delayed, having to patch up other men along the way. Meanwhile, the German medic keeps a low profile. The Piet team have a cigarette break. The 2nd British Assault Section waits. Lieutenant Hartnell surveys the scene before him. Father Schneider gives comfort to those drawing their last breath. The British mortar team continue hailing down bombs upon the German spotter's head. And hit! obliterating him from the battlefield. The German mortar team, now blind, advance forward through the woods to see if they can spot enemies to attack. Moving here. The British Bren section obey their orders and reposition with the greatest of haste, running to support their friends in the southwestern field. Lieutenant Baumann steps forth to lead his men and successfully makes it to the battlefield. He and Big Body step forward and open fire with their Schmeisers, but inflict no casualties upon the Paras. The Vickers team is ordered to watch the southern flank, but the order is cancelled and they are told to stand by. Seizing the initiative, Lieutenant Baumann barks out orders, galvanizing his men to action. The Paras hit the dirt, just as Baumann and Body open fire. And 2 more paratroopers fall to German bullets, including Corporal McCoy. One of the German squads notices the artillery officer lurking behind the vegetation and promptly opens fire. A soldier snaps off a rifle grenade. It hits and kills one of the men, the shell shock fraying the remaining officer's nerves, who decides to fall back and find a safer vantage point. The 2nd Grenadier Squad, activated by Lieutenant Baumann, charge headfirst to dispatch the remaining number of paratroopers, screaming, tossing grenades, firing weapons. Caught out in the open, the hapless Paras are assailed, and the attacking Grenadiers have the first strike. This promises to be a brutal and bloody affair for the Paras. And indeed, they are cut down to a man. The momentum of their bloody assault brings the Grenadier Squad closer and closer to the British lines. Meanwhile, in the central hayfield, the Paras' anti-tank gun crew attempt to spin about their cumbersome weapon to destroy the armored car, but go to ground in the face of withering fire from the vehicle. Meanwhile, the 2nd Assault Section seeks to exact revenge for the lives of their fallen comrades. With gritted teeth, they open fire! Five Grenadiers succumb to the bullets of the Paras, but the German medic is at hand. Can he save their lives? One man. Despite such grievous losses, the Grenadiers decide to stay and fight. Another of the Grenadier squads attempts to make it to the battlefield, but in the confusion are delayed. Now refueled, the Opel Blitz bearing the Pioneers drives on. But it seems the engine is flooded, and so is delayed again. Cursing their situation, the Pioneers sit and wait. The German medic presses forward to get closer to his men. The British flamethrower team press on to get into the thick of action. and indeed find their way into the fray. Boldly advancing into the German lines, they fired up the Akpak. The flamethrower takes its toll of grenadier lives, but doggedly they fight on. The German mortar team press on through the woods, seeking out new targets. The Piet team continue their cigarette break. Father Schneider continues to administer to the dying or dead men. The British medic continues his advance into this quarter of the battlefield. The Bren section encounter the motorcycle and open fire. Their target, however, speedily rides away, delivering them safely behind Bocage. The British mortar team launch bombs at the Grenadier squad, but miss. The Vickers team, having waited patiently during this battle so far, spy out the enemy, the mortar team, and open fire. Merely a ranging shot. With no targets in sight, the German sniper team advances forward. The Bren section, spotting the armored car, reposition themselves so that they may toss a grenade through the open-topped hatch. Lieutenant Hartnell assesses his tactical options and pauses for but a moment. The recon vehicle continues its onslaught, this time targeting the AT gun and the oncoming para section. The howitzer shell hits. And 3 more paras fall this day. The machine gun claims one of the AT crew. At this juncture of the battle, things look grim for the paratroopers. They do not give up easily, however. Will they prevail? Let's find out. The assault squad seizes the initiative and charges, screaming their war cry into the German grenadiers. The grenadiers are wiped out. Like an unstoppable steamroller, the paras continue forward. They end up dangerously close to the enemy leutnant. The nearly shattered remnant of one of the grenadier squads turns about and fires upon the flamethrower team. But the paras hit the dirt. Lieutenant Hartnell bursts into action, bellowing out orders and commands, mobilizing the Bren section and the Vickers team. Himself shifting behind cover in order to oversee the battle ahead. First to act are the men of the Bren section. They charge forward, hoping to kill the crew of the armored vehicle. But the recon vehicle was built for escape in times of need, which it does just so right now. And the paras fall short of their target. The Vickers team opens fire at the German mortar squad, and manages to wound one of them. The last of the German grenadier squads pushes forward and appears on the northern flank to support the now attacked armored car. They open fire at the oncoming, charging Bren section. And 2 more paras fall to German bullets. However, these ones stay to fight. Though there are only 2 men left in this Bren section, they stay to fight to the bitter end. The transport jeep drives forward and, yes, makes it to the battlefield. The Piet team have an excellent flanking shot now. The German transport, too, makes a beeline toward the battlefield. Appearing from out of the fog of war, it opens fire at the paras. And the transport's gunner claims 2 British lives. The Bren section advance and open fire at the grenadiers. They all die. Under fire from the British Vickers team, the German mortar team attempt to mobilize, but instead go to ground. In turn, the British mortar team drop a bomb on the German transport. And miss. The German pioneers emerge from their transport and unleash hell on the paras. Four men die a horrible death. And still the onslaught continues. Those who are not burned to death are shot to death. Lieutenant Baumann and Body advance forward and open fire on the now prone flamethrower team, but overshoot their target. The sniper team, seeing that the mortar team is under fire, seek to displace and perhaps take a shot at the Vickers team, taking them out of action. But first they must line up a shot. Putting out their cigarettes, the Piet team spring out of the jeep and set their sights on the armored car, taking a shot. An awkward weapon, to be sure. The German medic advances to stay near his leader. Chaplain doubles back near the pioneer squad. The motorcycle team rush forward and open fire at the now exposed paras. And miss with every bullet. The men of the anti-tank crew are rallied. And finally, the British medic rushes over to the incoming Bren section. The battle thus far has certainly been in the Grenadiers' favour. Here, in the southwestern hayfield, only the flamethrower team stands for the British, but another Bren section is on its way to lend support to the now isolated men. Things fare little better for the paras in the central hayfield, as the Brennan section that was stationed there has been cut down to 2 men, and they now face a full grenadier squad and the armored reconnaissance vehicle. While the Vickers team keeps the German mortar team and sniper team at bay single-handed. The armored car turns and drives right up to the Piat team, opening fire. The machine gun mercilessly blows away the tank hunter team. Lieutenant Baumann wastes no time and orders the truck and the pioneer squad to advance and shoot any British in sight. As ever, he leads the way, opening fire at the flamethrower team, who go down. The truck moves forward, clearing itself of the bombardment area, and opens fire at the flamethrower team. The target is just too small. The pioneers attempt to snuff out the resilient little team with bullets and napalm. Though the fuel from the flamethrower does not ignite, the SMGs make short work of their enemy. The Vickers team switched their target from the mortar to the sniper team. And completely blow away the sniper team. The Grenadier squad in the north charges at the paras. Brave as they are, the last 2 men didn't stand a chance. Seeking to salvage the situation, Lieutenant Hartnell orders the AT gun to spin about face and blast the Germans, and the mortar team is ordered to blast the armored car. Bravely, he steps forward and opens fire at the grenadiers. With a hail of Sten rounds, 4 Germans fall prey to Hartnell's rage. The AT gun turns and fires. Three of the grenadiers are blown apart by the high explosive. A mortar bomb is quickly loaded, then launched at the armored car. And hits. The bomb smashes into the vehicle's engine, crippling it. The jeep hastens away from the armored car's arc of fire. Still under sustained fire from the Vickers team, the German mortar team attempts to return fire. but instead keeps their heads down. The German medic seeks shelter behind the truck. Father Schneider follows in the wake of the German pioneers. The last remaining Bren team dig deep to keep fighting, for there are many enemies near, especially the motorcycle team. They fight on, though their target retreats once more to make things harder for them. They keep shooting. Though some bullets do strike the motorcycle, none damage it in any way. The British medic repositions to a safer location. The British sniper, with no other targets, merely seeks to harass the occupants of the armored car, opening fire. With combat coming to an end, the situation on the battlefield is as follows. The hayfield to the southwest has been completely dominated by the Germans. The final Bren team is still active, under fire by the German motorcycle crew, while the British jeep, empty of passengers and unarmed, sits idle. The armored car sits immobilized, with mortar bombs raining down upon it. Its crew in a panic, they may yet flee the battle. Though in tatters, the northernmost grenadier squad may yet pose a threat to the nearby paras, including the AT-gun mortar team and lieutenant. Meanwhile, the Vickers team continues its barrage of deadly bullets against the German mortar team, intent on wiping them out. Lieutenant Baumann continues the German steamroller by ordering both the truck and the pioneer team to press forward and wipe out any enemies in sight. The truck repositions onto the road and levels its machine gun at the paras and opens fire. The gunner's aim is deadly, and he takes down 2 of the paras. The medic is unable to save them. Fulfilling the lieutenant's orders, the pioneer squad step forward and open fire at the paras. Under heavy fire, the paras attempt to stand up and give back as good as they're getting. But the incoming fire is just too heavy. Lieutenant Hartnell opens fire at the incoming Germans and orders the AT gun to do the same. The Germans hit the dirt. Though their combined efforts do not kill any of the grenadiers, it nonetheless puts pressure on them. The Vickers team continues firing at the German mortar team. Bullets shrieking in profusion, one of them actually manages to strike the ammo box, destroying the equipment and killing the crew! The British mortar team launches another hail of mortar bombs at the armored car. High explosives rattle the crew of the vehicle, but the vehicle itself is not damaged. The motorcycle team gather their wits about them and re-enter the fight. They approach the paras and open fire, but kill none. The British sniper team keep the pressure on the armored car as they fire another shot. The vehicle crew are at their wits' end. Another shot or two like that, and they'll run. And now comes the moment of truth. Will the paras fight on, or will they yield? Lieutenant Hartnell and his men, such as they are, those that remain, fall back deeper into the Normandy countryside to regroup and plan their next move.